Hello guys, it's Mark again, and this time I finally made a guide for Sub Rogue. So for past few weeks I'm having fun with Sub and training with it on dummies and in Heroic Nighthold and even Trial of Valor, and I'm doing fine DPS considering that I only have 34 traits. So I also analyzed a lot of Warcraft logs for Mythic Nighthold and Heroic Nighthold for sub rogues, and I gathered a lot of information on how to play sub in this patch, and I finally could make a video for it. So in this video I'll be going over talents, stats, trinkets, legendaries, rotation, and in the end the conclusion. I put timestamps in the description, so if you're here for certain information you can easily go and see it right away. So in the first three we have Gloomblade, Weapon Master and Master of Sub. The best talent for solo targeting is Master of Sub, and for multi-targeting you can either go for Master of Sub or Weapon Master. Weapon Master is pulling a bit ahead, but it's not a really big difference, so if you don't want to use your Tome of Tranquil Minds to change it around the fights, you won't feel a big difference. In second row, Subterfuge is the best talent. There's nothing else to say about it. Moving on to the third talent option, and that's Deeper Stratagem or Anticipation. Anticipation is the way to go if you have Foresight, so your Night Stalker has a chance to do one additional combo point. And Deeper Stratagem is the way to go if you don't have your Foresight. For level 60 talents, you either want to go for Cheat Death or Elusiveness. It differs from fight to fight, but I prefer to have Cheat Death constantly on, just because I prevent myself from dying to stupid mechanics. For level 75 talents, Prey on the Weak is the best, because it's the only one which can offer some DPS. In the level 90 talent row, Premeditation is by far the best talent DPS wise, and for our last talent we have Master of Shadows and that from above. Master of Shadows is for me the way to go. That from above can be usable on fights like Scorpion when you have tons of ads, and it can also be usable on solo target fights, because I was watching logs and a lot of Korean players which currently have the best logs for sub rogues use that from above, for example crosses. So that's all with talents, and now moving on to stats. Mastery is by far the best stat for sub rogue because it increases the damage of your finishing moves like Eviscerate, Nightblade and that from above. Second best stat is versatility. Third best stat, not so behind on versatility, is critical strike, and the worst stat for sub rogue is haste. So you want to have mastery on every item on your character except on legendaries and trinkets, and you want to balance critical strike and versatility. So just aim for mastery heavy items, and for the secondary stat you want to have critical or versatility. It really doesn't matter a lot. Now for trinkets, the best trinket is Convergence of Fate. The second best trinket is Nightblooming Frond. It works really well with sub. The other part is that it has a lot of agility and a high base item. So basically you also can use stat trinkets like Ethereal Urn or Guarm Eye or any other stat trinket, and you can even use Entwined Foci and Memento. The most important part is that it has a big item level. Now heading on to legendaries. In my opinion, the best legendary is the Mantle of Master Assassin. It really works well with all the rogue specs and decreases the value of critical, and therefore if you have shoulders, versatility is going to be more influential than critical. Second best legendary, which isn't so far behind on Master Assassin, is Shadow Satyr's Walk, and it refunds the energy every time you use Shadow Strike. It really works well with your Shadow Dance window, and you don't need to fear that you're going to lose energy before you use your 3 or 4 Shadow Strikes. Now moving on to the third best legendary, which isn't really behind on the first two, and that's the Denial of the Half Giants. Legendary bracers, and they increase the duration of your Shadow Blades, 0.3 seconds per each combo point you spend. And during that time, during Shadow Blades, you're going to have so much combo points and so much energy, so it just works really well. And it also works really well with Convergence of Fates and Relics, which decrease the cooldown of Shadow Blades, so you can have really big uptime of Shadow Blades. So those three were the best legendaries for sub. There are also two situational legendaries, such as Kil'jaeden's Burning Wish and Dreadlore's Deceit. They work really well on some fights in Nighthold, for example on Scorpion. Both of those legendaries work really well, and for example on Mythic Spellblade Aluriel, the best legendary for it is the Cloak. Now finally comes the topic you all have been waiting for, and it's the rotation. So before going to opener and rotation, I want to talk about a few sub abilities and cooldowns, when to use them and so on. First off, symbols. You want to have 100% uptime of symbols, and you want to refresh them under 10 seconds. So from 0 seconds to 10 seconds is the window for refreshing them, and you can only refresh them in Stealth or in Shadow Dance. For combo spenders we have Eviscerate and Nightblade. Your priority is Nightblade, so you want to have it constantly on the target, and you just have to have 100% uptime of it, and just keep reapplying it. And when you don't need to reapply Nightblade, you can use Eviscerate. Now for Shadow Dance, it allows you to use your stealth abilities for 5 seconds, and in those 5 seconds you have 5 global cooldowns, and you want to use them on at least 3 or 4 Shadow Strikes, and on 1 or 2 finishing moves, depending on your combo points. Like, do you have Shadow Blades on, and with how many combo points did you started your Shadow Dance. And also in window of Shadow Dance, you also want to refresh your symbols, and the most effective way to refresh your symbols is to have 6 combo points or 7 or 8 before going into Shadow Dance. And when you go into Shadow Dance, you instantly pop your symbols and Shadow Strike, and then use your 2 finishers, and then you can also use 2 of your Shadow Strikes, and you won't run out of energy. Now for Shadow Blades, it's our only DPS cooldown, and it increases the generation of combo points, so every your ability which generates combos adds 1 more additional combo point, and you want to use it in the same time as you use your Shadow Dance. Or Vanish. Which brings us to Vanish, and when to use Vanish. So Vanish is your cooldown to use when you have 1 stack of your Shadow Dance left, so you can catch up with your Shadow Dance stacks a bit. So you want to again use it when you're at around 73 energy, and just use 3 Shadow Strikes, nothing else, so be careful not to overcap your combo points. And the last ability I'm going to talk about is Gormau's Bite, our artifact ability, and it deals a good amount of damage and awards 3 combo points and some energy over 6 seconds. I use this ability also when I'm at like 1 stack of Shadow Dance, and I use it generally after Vanish, so I can maybe get a half of the cooldown from Shadow Dance from it. So that's all about the abilities, so now let's get to the opener and the rotation. So for sub, you're preparing for pull even before the pull timer. You're pressing your symbols of that off cooldown, and at the last 4 seconds of the pull timer you press them again for the last time, and it will give you 41 seconds of uptime, which is the highest possible without the cost of your opener energy. And your opener always begins by you pressing your potion, Shadow Blades and Shadow Strike almost instantly, and afterwards you want to put 2 more Shadow Strikes in. After that you're most likely going to have 10 common points, and you're going to waste 5 common points on Nightblade and even 5 common points on Eviscerate if you don't have legendary boots. And if you have legendary boots, then you're going to overcap yourself with energy, and you're just going to go instantly into Shadow Dance after you press Nightblade. And as you can see, I'm using my Shadow Dance as much as possible, so when I get at 70 energy I use my Shadow Dance no matter how many chargers are left. I did a mistake by using Bite now, but it's not a really big difference. Now before doing the conclusion, I'll go on about ad rotation. So when you have ads, you're pretty much going to have your Shadow Dance constantly at 2 or 3 stacks. You won't be able to lose it because you're not going to use Shadow Strike anymore, you're just going to use your Shuriken Storm. And by using your Shuriken Storm, you're getting a lot of common points, and you're going to afford being in Shadow Dance constantly. So rotation in hand-heavy fights is just popping your Shadow Dance, using your Shuriken Storm, then finishing move, so either Nightblading everyone or just using Eviscerate, depending on how much are they going to live. Now the conclusion, I really think that Sub Rogue is a viable class to play. It's a bit behind on Assassination, but the amount of fun I get by playing Sub is far bigger than playing Assassination, because it has less RNG factor and you need to think more about playing Sub than playing Assassination. So overall, if you need a break from Assassination, Sub is a real vacation for you. But it is a class which is very Legendary hungry, so Legendary make a huge impact, but at least there are 3 good ones and 2 situational, which can also be really good. And so that's a good part, because Assassination only has 2 perfect ones. And trait wise, Sub is looking far more better than Assassination in the future patch, so it will be fun if they are at the same level, or even if Sub is a bit better than Assassination. But that's all I got for this video, and until next time, take care.